Hi everyone, we're here in San Diego where virtually every home that comes on the market is receiving multiple offers. So today I wanted to share 8 creative ways to help your offer get accepted. So first off, before even making an offer, we got to be prepared. The first thing we got to do is have our pre-approval letter from our lender ready to go, as well as your proof of funds. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about some of the things that you can throttle to make your offer more appealing to a seller and based on your level of comfortability. Here's 8 creative ways to get your offer to stand out in a competitive market. In today's market, you're going to want to shop below your maximum approved price and be ready to make an offer above asking price. Homes are currently selling at 102% over list price in San Diego. That's across the whole county, so it's going to be different depending on the different areas or communities that you're looking at. So you'll want to speak with your realtor to find out what they suggest. At 102% of list price, if a home is listed at $600,000, the median sales price would be $612,000. So in other words, that home would likely sell for $12,000 over the asking price. Like I said, it differs based on community. Some you're going to see a big difference and some of them not as much. So work with your realtor on that. And a trend we're starting to see is escalation clauses. So what's an escalation clause? An escalation clause states that the buyer will pay a certain amount over the highest offer that the seller receives. So for instance, the seller received an offer at $605 and you might say, I'm willing to go X number of dollars over your highest offer. And it just updates automatically. And usually there's going to be a cap or a ceiling on the amount over that you are willing to pay. Be ready to offer any difference above the appraised value and the contract price. It's also known as an appraisal guarantee. So what does that mean? So in the example, say you got a purchase price of $612 that the buyer and the seller has agreed to, and that home only appraises for $600,000. An appraisal guarantee is saying that you would be willing to pay a certain amount of dollars over the appraised value to make up the difference between what you and the seller has agreed to. And another thing to do is you could also waive the appraisal contingency altogether or shorten that contingency period. By default, when you're putting in an offer on a home, you're buying it as is. But many times after it's under contract, you do an inspection, and then you negotiate on repairs. One of the ways that you can make an offer more appealing to the seller is to say that you're willing to buy the home as is. Repairs or credits affect the seller's bottom line. So letting them know you're willing to buy it as is, you're not going to request any additional repairs, gives the seller more assurance that the number that you agreed on is what they're going to be able to expect. You can also shorten the inspection contingency time frame, which is another thing you could do to make that more appealing, or waive your inspection altogether. Until the home actually closes, there's always a chance that something could fall out and they could end up going back on market. Many times you'll find that sellers prefer a quick close, but other times they need time to get out, so they might look for a longer escrow. Be willing to be flexible with the seller's time frame. A lot of times the seller needs some time to actually find a replacement property or maybe move to where it is they're going to. So giving them an opportunity to rent back the home after the close of escrow, the buyer's cost, but to make it even more appealing, we're seeing it at a low cost or even sometimes no cost to the seller. Those are a couple of additional items that you can consider when putting in your offer. This is going to be a twist from usual market, and that is buyer paid closing costs. So this is a flip. Usually in a normal market, you would see buyers asking for closing costs. Now we're starting to see where buyers are offering to pay a certain amount of closing costs in addition to their offer. So in that example, maybe they're going to offer $610,000, but then they're going to offer $2,000 in closing costs. It's just another way to be able to tweak the seller's bottom line and make it more appealing. Letting some or all of the earnest money or initial deposit go hard. Go hard on the earnest money means that basically the seller is going to be able to keep that amount regardless of whether that transaction closes or not. So say you put in an offer at $610,000, but you're going to put some earnest money down and say a certain amount of that is going to go hard or will be hard. That way the seller knows, if I take this offer, if I accept this offer, I am at a minimum going to get that amount that goes hard. And that makes it very appealing to them because they know they have nothing to lose. So it's just another way you're able to make a strong offer and entice that seller to go with your offer. Buyer love letters. This is a tricky one. In the past, buyers would write love letters to tug on the heartstrings of the sellers. Especially when you're buying it as your primary residence and you want the seller to know why you love the home and why it's going to be so great for you and your family. It's a great story and a lot of sellers love it. However, you do have to be aware that this can actually get you in trouble. There is very heightened scrutiny and attention to fair housing regulations. They've actually gotten a bit harsher. So at this time, we're still seeing them, but in general, they're not really recommended because it could get you, the seller, or even the realtors and brokers involved into some, legal trouble. For more information about these tips, stay tuned for my buyer's workshop, which will be coming in June. And sellers, beware of the pitfalls of these buyer strategies. They sound great, but you also want to keep an eye out for things to avoid falling out of escrow and going back on market. We'll talk about this more at my next market update. Hope it was helpful. Bye.